All right, everybody. Welcome back for another special episode of Junior Resource Investing. I have with me today Shawn Khunkhun, who's going to provide us an update for his Dolly Varden Silver exploration program right now. Some pretty exciting assay results came back last week. Just before we kind of jump into things here, just a quick reminder, right? Disclaimer that I am not a financial advisor. My guests are not financial advisors. This is not financial advice. You know, you go find a registered professional for that. But anyway, other than that, welcome to another episode of Junior Resource Investing. And Shawn, I guess, yeah, do you just want to run us through it? Yeah, like I say, you had some pretty exciting numbers there, right, last week. Do you just kind of want to run us through right now what those numbers were?
Yeah, absolutely. Matthew, can you see my screen?
Yeah, perfect.
So just as a reminder, for anybody who's new to Dolly Varden and the company, Dolly Varden's got a project in the northwest corner of British Columbia. We're in an area referred to as the Golden Triangle. It's a very prolific part of Northwest BC and one of what I would describe top 5 mining jurisdictions in the world. What I've got here is I've got a long section that is showing the mineralization in the 100% owned trend. So what we've identified so far at Dolly Varden is we've identified 7 deposits, and we've got 43 101 compliant resource estimates. Now, the way we express these resource estimates is in a silver equivalent. So total amongst the 7 deposits, we've got about 140 million ounces of silver. Those silver ounces are at grades just under 400 gram per ton silver equivalent, or 300 gram per ton silver, pure silver. The strategy for the company is to try to expand the known deposit areas and to look at areas of the project that have not been thoroughly explored and try to make new discoveries. And so I've circled this one part of the resource area where we put out these particular drill results. So it's the Kitsault vein, which is part of the Torbrit deposit. Now, Torbrit is the largest silver deposit on the property. We've got about 35 million ounces of silver already in a resource estimate at Torbrit, and there's been about 19 million ounces produced at Torbrit. So the discovery that we made comes off of the Kitsault vein, and so we're extending and expanding the Kitsault vein. So we stepped out and we hit 50 meters of 414 grams per ton. So just to put that into context here, we've got, like, for a miner, for a mining company that's going to mine this in the future, it's all about costs. And to have a wide intercept, 50 meters, that's over 150 feet of material that's grading 13 ounces per ton of silver. Another way to express that is 414 grams, and that's pure silver. And what we're seeing in this core is, if you really look at this 50-meter intercept, there's a consistent 200 gram per ton backdrop throughout the 50-meter core. So we're consistently seeing this 200 gram per ton silver. And then what happens is we've got these veins that are coming in and enriching. So you're getting areas that are 700 grams, 900 grams, 2,900 grams. And so that enrichment boost the average grade to 400 grams. Now, what some companies are guilty of in the mining business is they'll take a half-meter intercept and they'll smear it along. And what I'm trying to articulate here is the background noise of this hole is 200 grams per ton, which is exceptionally high. And then we're getting this overprint of the veining that's bringing in enrichment almost up to 3,000 grams per ton. So, and the other beauty here is the grade in this hole starts at about 230 meters and ends at around 280 meters. So it's still very, very close to surface. Like, we've got Torbrit that goes right to surface, and we've got 7 kilometers of underground workings. It's very accessible. But one of the big opportunities on this property, it's not just about expanding the deposits along strike or finding new ones. They really have not, none of them, all 7, they have not been drill tested at depth. And I always say, the gold and silver does not fall from the sky. It comes from deep within the Earth's crust. And so the biggest and richest parts of this ore body will be at depth, and we haven't scratched the surface here. And I make reference to that in the press release, that the grades and the thicknesses are increasing at depth. So what we're doing next is we've got a fence of holes around this. And the other image I want to show you is this is really important, because this is something that I think we really need to highlight here. Matthew, you can confirm you can see this image?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so this is an estimate of the vein based on drill holes that have been done and based on grades that have been reported by the assay labs. Now, there's a hole here. Okay, there's a hole off here that looks like it didn't hit much grade. What I want to highlight here is this is a fault. This is the Moose Lamb fault, and that's why you're not getting grades. So we've got a number of holes that are going to be targeting this mineralization on the other side of the fault at depth. And so I just want to highlight that this is the Moose Lamb fault, because this mineral it's not cut off, and it's open significantly at depth, and it's open on the other side of this fault.
Beautiful. And so, yeah, impressive numbers. Just for the sake of people listening, if you do gold equivalency at 70-1, which I think is kind of traditional, that's about 6 grams per ton over 50 meters, 30 meters true width. If you're going by today's prices closer to 91, it's 4.5 grams per ton over 30 meters true width, which is impressive. And I will say, just as an aside, I'm always impressed, Shawn, that the Dolly Varden, you're pretty upfront, right? A lot, some companies, they like to hide, if it's not true width, right, that they'll hide that in a little asterisk down at the bottom. In your press release, you've got it right up front that, true width is, it's over 50 meters, but you've got it over the true width of 30 right up front. You're not hiding anything from us, right?
No, and that's why, this is the third image I've shared with you today. You can confirm you can see this one as well, Matthew. And again, we know that 30 meters is the true width. We give all the true width. We specifically talk about, and we're showing you here in a color format here, where the, as you can see in the red and the pink is where the high grade enrichment comes in. And again, referring to this background noise in the hole. And so, no, it's important, and that's why we also use the Verify platform and show investors in a 3D model. I think it's really important for sophisticated analysts or for general retail investors to have as much information so that you can make the decisions. But I think the great thing that we have in this company is a couple of things. Now, the first thing is, we're in a safe mining jurisdiction. Okay, we're increasingly seeing parts of the world where socialist movements, left leaning movements are coming in and making it more and more difficult. So we're in a part of the world where you can get a permit, you can mine. The other part of it is we've got this large resource. So we've got this big resource that almost acts as a foundation of value. And then the other thing is, with $21 million in the bank, we're going to be reporting our second quarter financials. So these are financials that are relevant and up to June 30th. And on those financials, we're going to show $21 million in the bank. Now, what I can afford to do with $21 million in the bank is I can give my scientists and geologists more than one drill hole. So for example, we've got all these veins on the property. We've got these big deposits. And as we try to find out where these veins are extending, where they're pinching and swelling, for some small exploration companies, they only get one shot, or they'll only have a couple of holes. But we're going to keep going until we solve this puzzle, and until I'm of the belief, and our shareholders are of the belief, our big shareholders, that whether they're corporates or they're the large institutions, this is a very, very prolific project, and it's a big project, and there's something very, very large lurking on this property, a lot bigger than the 140 million ounces we've already identified. And the fact that these results are outside of the resource area, they're not included, and the fact that, look, we've got two other areas that I referenced in the press release, so that's Homestake and Wolf. And I'll just share that that image again with your audience here, so they can see exactly what I'm referring to. But let's just pull this up. So the other areas that we're spending a lot of energy, a lot of resources is the Homestake main deposit and also Wolf. And for me, you know, we had a large, so this was a 25-meter step out at Kitsault. The step out that we reported last year at Wolf was 94 meters, and we're taking really big step outs at Wolf. So in addition to the, let's call it 100-meter step out last year, we've stepped out an additional 150 meters this year. So that's 250 meters away from the original deposit. Those assays are pending. We're also on a very, very big program at Homestake, Maine. Those assays are pending. And again, we've got 3 rigs that are working away. We've drilled 18,000 meters so far. We've got 30,000 meters planned. We're going to be actively drilling at least until the end of October. And we've got a lot of results that are pending.
Yeah, no, exciting numbers. Do you mind, Shawn, just for a second, because I want to draw people's attention to it, your second previous slide where you showed the block model from your 2019 resource, just to show my listeners that how much room you've already grown this from your 2019 resource estimate.
Yeah, let me just pull that up here.
Sure. Making you work backwards, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that works fine. Yeah, I just want people to realize that all of these drill results are not in the current resource estimate. That your 2019 block model, you've already stepped out. That's the one. Perfect. Yeah, exactly. Right. So I mean, look at those numbers. Look at where you are. I mean, there's already so much extension, right? I guess so your 25-meter step outs, that's perfect for a resource estimate. Are you just going to continue to be methodical like that, just 25 meters at a time, just to work that resource, or?
Well, again, we took a little bit more of an aggressive stance here with this hole, and we hit the Moose Lamb fault. Mm-hmm. And so, there was, some talk amongst the technical team to move on to other areas, right? And one of our new geologists, our project manager, Amanda Bennett, came in and said, well, wait a minute, guys, we're only down, we're not even down 300 meters here at depth. What if this thing just blows out at depth? And so she planned this hole. She looked at all the historic drilling, and she planned this hole, and sure enough, we've hit one of the best holes ever drilled on the property. And so we're going to step out below this. We're going to step out around it. We've got a fence of holes around it. She's quite methodical. However, when it comes to Wolf, as I mentioned, it's been a different approach. Wolf seems to be, it looks like it's got legs based on last year's assay results. And so in some areas, we are taking really big swings, 150-meter step outs, and then in other areas we're staying a little tighter. And it just depends on the data, and it just depends on what we're seeing in the rocks.
Yeah, absolutely. So do these results alter your plans, or you've already mentioned Homestake and Wolf are your main priorities, or is that where you're heading next? You got one drill on Homestake, one drill on Wolf. Where's your third drill going after this?
So right now we've got 2 rigs at Homestake, and we've got 1 rig that's going back and forth between Wolf and Kitsault, and our plans have altered significantly, and that's typical for an exploration company. We spent a lot more time at Wolf than I would have originally thought we would have spent, and so, the nice thing about being an exploration company is we're flexible, we're nimble, and based on success and failure in the field, we can modify plans. but we've got a lot of drilling that we want to get done at Homestake, and that's why we've got the 2 rigs there. And you know, we might increase the number of meters that we drill. You know, drill production's been very, very good, and you know, we're ahead of schedule in terms of number of meters drilled, and so there's a good chance that we drill more than the 30,000 meters planned.
Exciting. No, always gratifying. Like you say, you have to be nimble, you have to be fluid, especially as an explorer, but always nice when you change your plans based on good news, not bad news, right? Yeah. No,
for sure.
Yeah, no, I imagine that probably you'd be walking around with a smile on your face after these results. So I think that's it for me. I just wanted my listeners to see that, I mean, 414 grams per ton of silver over 50 meters with a true width of 30. That's, you know, 4.5 to 6 grams per ton of gold over 30 meters, right? So I mean, those are strong results. I mean, if the market doesn't respond, you know what, I'm okay with that sometimes, because that gives me a chance as a long-term investor to buy in, right? I mean, we're still seeing a bit of a depressed market in the precious metals sector. So I mean, that just gives me time to keep loading the boat, right? So.
Well, actually, you know what, I want to show you one last image, and the first 3 images, you know, they're really out of my wheelhouse, right? Like they're images that are put together by the scientists, the explorers, but this is something that's in my wheelhouse. So what I've done here, and Matthew, you can see my screen.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I've taken the SILJ. So these are the best silver companies. You know, it's funny because they're referred to as the junior silver, but they're the senior silver companies. They're the First Majestics. They're the best in breed. And what you have here, this is looking at 1 year. What you've got here is you've got the benchmark down almost 30%, and whereas Dolly Varden's up 15%. So this is looking at a 1 year basis. And if we take a tighter look, we look at the last 3 months, Dolly's up 32% and the index is down 7%. And so what I'm pointing out here is, as much as I would have liked these drill results to have where I think the stock should be trading based on the drill results, I've got to look back and look at the outperformance the companies had. And it's really, you know, like the stock market in the short term is a popularity contest, right? It's a voting machine, but in the long run, it's a scale, and it's a weighing machine. And so, you know, ultimately, as long as we're building value, right? And how do we value these companies? Based on mineral inventory. And if we can increase our mineral inventory by making discoveries like we made last week, and then the other factor is, you know, if we can get the metal prices higher, and you know, I'm in the camp where I believe we are going to get into a universe where we start putting financial models around these companies, not at $12 silver, not at $15 silver, but at $35 silver. And if you look at what that will do to, you know, the price sensitivities that these companies have to higher prices, you know, it takes companies like this and it doubles, triples, quadruples the value of the companies. And so, you know, and really it's a 100% appreciation for every $5 move in the price of silver. And that's how the companies that have the assets, that's how sensitive they are. So, you know, I'm very proud of this. I'm very proud of the technical team. I'm excited about more results to come. And the beauty is, like, one of the best holes that was put out last week was actually put out by a company called GR Silver, right? Like the best intercept from a gram meter standpoint, they hit 100 meters of 300 grams. Tremendous intercept. Vizsla put out a big hole last week as well. The difference between Dolly Varden and GR Silver, though, and I'm a big fan of what Eric Zonsarab is doing, and I really like the company, but unfortunately for them, they had to go out and raise $8 million at, I think the price was 15 cents. The fact that we have treasury is such a big part of why I think the stock has the ability to go higher now. We're not at the mercy of the equity markets and at dilution. So if investors want more exposure, they have to buy the shares.
Yeah, no, that's a point well made. And you are correct, right? I mean, at Dolly Varden, I've always been impressed by the resiliency in your share price. And I think that is a testament to scale, to grade, to the jurisdiction, as you say, Golden Triangle and War Chest. And frankly, yeah, I mean, you guys have a very strong team, right? So I think that all of that speaks to the reason why you guys are much more successful at kind of weathering the storm that we're in a little bit here, right? So Shawn, I don't need to keep you much longer. I just want everybody to know that this is a really strong and exciting results, and there's more to come, right? So stay tuned.
Matthew, thanks for having me on. Thanks for the opportunity to explain these results and in the context of what they mean and what's to come.
Yeah, perfect, Shawn. Thanks very much. Have a good day.